children's psychological states. And so your work as frontline educators to really be in a position to advocate for children in this, in the face of a market where companies are targeting our families and our children as their product and marketplace, is really critical. So your ethics and your thoughtfulness and the way that you're interfacing with administrators and educators in your schools is just so important and critical. So the fact that we are blessed to host you here today is really our pleasure and our honor. So I want to thank you all for the work that you do. And I hope you have a really productive day together. I hear so many good things. You are an example of the way that I wish Memphis independent schools were collaborating together for the betterment of all children. And I think that our schools can really take a page from the work that you're doing together to make that right here. So thank you so much. Welcome to St. George's, and I hope you have a really productive day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this just feels like a normal day. Doing all of this troubleshooting at the last minute. Thank you, Pam, Amanda, and Scott, and everybody else who jumped in. Lesson learned for me, definitely email, let everybody know ahead of time what my plan is to make sure we're all good. Okay, I can't believe it's already my second meeting. Here we go. So, do we have an approval of the September minutes? Do we have anybody willing to? Okay. All right. Lena, do you want to talk about the treasurer report?
We've had several schools who have paid their dues. I made a couple deposits totaling $330. And then we had 2 withdrawals, one for door prizes, one for flowers that we sent to Melissa. So the current balance that we have right now is $1,370.39. And the list, I think, is accurate. We can add St. Francis to that list now that I have this check.
And then we'll have $191 coming out for our website and whatever that is involved. Our group, no group.
Okay.
Yeah, that's $191, and I just paid with my school credit card, and I'll just get reimbursed. That's why I wanted to email the group a couple weeks ago.
Thanks to Lynn for figuring out why our site disappeared.
Capital P.
All right, so if you haven't gone ahead and done the attendance, go ahead and sign in using the link.
What's the name at the top?
I emailed it out.
You should have an email with it, yeah. But it's right there. Everybody's not on. Okay. Are you good? All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do my presentation first, then we'll do our regular minutes, and then we have a special guest today that John Simi has arranged for us. I'll let him introduce him when we get to that point. So, I don't know how much 3D printing you do in your schools. Ours is more dabbling than actually a part of what we do. It's just a piece of our maker space, and it's always a little tricky. I just realized that camera is on me. Okay. Anyways, it's a little tricky. I work with SK through 4, and doing 3D design with them is a bit of a challenge. And have any of y'all used Tinkercad? Who's used Tinkercad? Okay. So I don't know what you think of it. I find it a bit limiting. When the project we've done the last few years with our 4th graders is they study medieval times, and so they design a shield, and then but they design it in what represents them rather than ancient times. And so we would go through this convoluted process of designing the shape of the shield in Tinkercad. We would then, in Microsoft Word, do their lettering of their name. We would then take that and convert it into a JPEG and preview. We would then take that to a website that converted it to an X3G file, and then we would import it into Tinkercad. So it was like, they could do it, but it was a lot of steps to move fourth graders through. Same thing, they would do a drawing that represented them. We would take a picture on the iPad, we'd email it, we'd upload it and import it and convert it and then put it all together. So it was a rather lengthy process. And then this year I found this new app. Has anybody heard of Morphi? Okay, it's like my new favorite thing because it simplifies all of that. And it doesn't really matter if you're working with little kids or if you're working with high school kids. I think it's an amazing app to use. It is a bit pricey. I think it's $5, but with the volume purchase discount, it's $2.50. And for me, it was worth investing, putting it on one iPad card. That way, everybody can use that same iPad card just for my peace of mind. So we were able this year to do our shields in about an hour and a half versus before it was a multi-day process going through. And I have some examples I brought that I'll send around. Unfortunately, all the examples I have right now are hot pink because I work in an all-girl school. And even though I told them medieval times, I don't think that was a color choice. It doesn't matter. And that was the most popular color, so I started printing those first. This is one from last year that's actually in clear. But what they had to do is they had to design the shape of their shield, they had to put their lettering, and then an image that represented them. This one's a paintbrush. This is one that I made using the new Morphi. So this was done with Tinkercad. This I would say, was one of the better ones that was done. This one I did as my example for the girls, and this was actually my first attempt. You know, on the screen it looked great, and then I realized I hadn't paid attention to the measurements and all that, and so it was a really good lesson actually when I teach the girls now. And we talk about, if you don't pay attention, this is what will happen, you know, and so we talk about our measurement and all the math that goes along with that. So it's actually good that I messed up. But this is what I did with Morphi app, threw it together in just a few minutes, and then I have some student examples. I've started printing. All 3 classes are done, and I spent a total of like 3-4 hours total, maybe. Working with the girls, and I don't remember the last time I did something this complicated that ended up being that easy, but I'll pass these around and you can look at the examples while I'm talking. So, Morphi, let's hope this works. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so this is Morphi, and this is what a finished shield would look like, a finished project. Okay, and so one thing I do like about it is on the iPad, all our students are very adept with using iPads. So there's no like learning curve as far as using that. It's super easy. One thing that I love about this app versus Tinkercad, they cannot go below the work plane. If you've ever worked with it, you know how it goes into the negative on the y-axis. They can't go below. So that eliminates 90% of the printing issues I would have when I would send files to the printer and then have to go back and look through their file and realize that they didn't have everything at 0 on the work plane. So basically what this is, and you may consider this cheating, but I don't. This app has the ability to take 2D images and convert them to 3D. So what I did is I had the girls out of black construction paper design the shape of their shield. We took a picture within the app and it converted it to 3D for us. Then they did a line drawing image, and so that lion, I just drew it with a thick Sharpie. And I explained to them that the simpler the drawing, of course, the better it's going to show up. And the thicker the lines, if you look at my little dinky one when it comes around, I just did a real thin line drawing, and then the bigger one was with more deliberate, thicker lines. And then this has the ability to do your lettering right within the app with lots of different fonts to choose from. Okay? When you finish, all you have to do is press the little arrow here. It sends it as an ST file, and you can email it, or you can airdrop it. You can do Google Drive, iCloud, send Thingiverse, Adobe Creative Cloud. There's lots of choices. So they just email it to me, and then I circles. This is the editing toolbar. This is where you can do all your grouping, editing, rotating, that type of thing. And then the third one is the different ways of manipulating the view, but actually with the iPad, just using your fingers is much easier than using these. Okay. All right, so this is how simple it is. If I want to add some lettering, I go to the M button, and where it says More File, I'm going to delete. And here's the different fonts, and it shows them what it's going to look like when they scroll through. Okay, so you pick the font that you want. They also have lettering here that you can add letters and numbers one at a time, but who wants to do that? That 3D button, when you're ready, you just press 3D, there it is. It's done. So what I had the girls do, now right now each letter is a separate object. So before they do anything else, I have them go to the edit menu, select all and group. And now, that's one object that they can move around. So that, compared to the 10-30-step process, whatever it was that we did before with their software, that was just like life-saving to me. You can see here, they can raise and lower, but it can't go below the actual plane. So you can add shapes now. I think I forgot that. So the other part that I love is the 2D to 3D ability to do pictures. And I completely forgot.
You said it can take in flat images and convert them.
Yes, that's what I'm
So
about to
does
show.
that mean that you can basically take like a Word document, use any font you want, convert it to a JPEG, and import it using the font?
You could, yes.
Will it still import it with individual letters, or is it one file?
It will come in as each piece. That's a good question. So, for example, that lion, each part that's not attached comes in as a separate object. Okay. I was trying to find a link piece without lines. Thanks. I'm sorry. I had it and I left it in the teacher's classroom.
Asking for a favor, or not TV.
Jessica, what printer are you using? I have a reflector, MakerBot Reflector 2. Kept having a lot of problems with logging up the, yes, oh my gosh, you know, and so basically it's a pile of junk now because it's taken apart so many times. Right now I'm using the MakerBot Mini, which if you notice sometimes, I like the Mini because the extruder is magnetically attached. It's easy to pop on and off if I'm having a problem compared to what I was doing before. I'm not really mechanically inclined, so that was not fun for me. But the one thing I don't like about the MakerBot Mini is it used to require you to do a raft, and then the raft doesn't want to separate from, and that's why I have so much of this extra crud on the back, and I like ruin my hands trying to, you know, peel it all off. The new update to the software does let you take the raft off. However, it does give you an error message and you have to override it, and then it will do it because it recommends that you have it. But the new update does allow you to do that. So it's probably not the best one out there, but it's working pretty well for what we're doing because we don't do anything new. So if I were to draw, I'm going to get real fancy. Okay, if I go to, okay, on the tools menu, do you see the squiggles is 2D to 3D? That is my favorite button. So you can draw your own images, okay, and it'll add it. Using the simple little draw tool, you have a line thickness and eraser. You can also do mirroring, so if you want to do a symmetrical drawing, see, it's going to mirror as you go.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can draw and create your object You can also, down here, if you do add photo, I'm sorry, camera, but you can also do a photo that you've already taken. The only thing we have trouble with is just making sure about shadows, because it will pull it in as like black stuff. So usually, do you know, I would have the girls sometimes put it up on the board and do it straight on, and then that was well, okay, well that'll be enough to see.
There needs to be something solid behind it, maybe too much
Probably
light coming
it's
through.
transparent, plus I can get very thick lines with my pen, but you'll get the idea. So I can then clean it up with the eraser if it brings in any extra lines, and then all I have to do is tap the 3D button, and then there it is. It is now on my, so then, usually what I tell the girls is to move the lettering before they add the next thing, because everything tends to go on top of each other right in the middle. So I just have them move it a little bit over to the side, although the side means completely off the field and the stratosphere. And so that's pretty much it. You can do pictures, you can do photos, anything can go 2D to 3D, and then you still have like the Tinkercad traditional 3D shapes that you can build with. It does have the AR capability too, so whatever they make, they can then,
Oh, that's cool.
just by a push of a button, it becomes augmented reality. You can save what you create as a photo, and it will add it to your camera roll, so you have it over there. You do have the ability to rotate, which I like. Now this, they can actually go mess up here a little bit. So notice on the rotate, you have 3 colored lines.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look over here, you have your 3 axes, and they are color coded. So you have your X, Y, and Z. So I always tell them that they want to do the blue, because that rotates it on the plane. So it makes it a little bit easier for them to visually be able to tell how to rotate. They can also do it 90 degrees. They can copy it. Now I have 2. Okay.
What ages do you use this with? What grades?
I have so far just with 4th, but I think 3rd definitely could do it also. It maybe feels just a little bit simpler. You can also scale everything just by the sliders. So in Tinkercad, I'm trying to remember, it seemed like you had to type the numbers, like you would click on the ruler and you type them in. This, you can simply just drag your X, Y, Z to rescale your object. At the bottom is the ruler, and this is what I really work with the girls. This is where the math comes in. You can do millimeters or inches. We always work with millimeters, it's simpler. But I make them put a ruler in front of them, and then they have to look at each number and look at it on the ruler. That way they know exactly what size it's actually going to print at the end. Yeah.
What specifications are your iPads that you use?
I am using it, let's see, the card. I'm actually using it on the older iPads that have the 32 inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
This one's not, but the ones the girls are using.
And it works well.
Yeah. I will say, I would recommend that they use that save button frequently.
Yeah.
In each class, I probably had one student where the iPad kept quitting out, and if it quits out before they save, obviously I have to redo it. But what is so great is if it quits out and they have to redo it, it's so easy that they just get caught back up on their own within minutes, versus me having to walk them through the whole process again.
So no autosave?
No. If you press save, it will save it, and then they just have to go right back into edit mode. So it's not a biggie. You just have to remember to tell them.
So the file saves within the app itself?
Yes.
Okay.
How many of this running around, but do they have student accounts on this, or is so multiple kids are creating? So conceivably, if you had a little monster, they could get in and edit someone else's file.
We're all girls and we don't.
Well, we're co-ed, we have monsters.
Really don't do that though. I don't think, I mean,
I mean, it works for myself.
They make their own users.
The thing is, that you can do it in such a short amount of time that usually they finish, and I mean, they're finishing and sending me the file before, I mean, we're not doing it in multiple, because it's so easy to use. I told the teachers, I said, we could split it up, or you could give me an hour and a half, and I can have everybody done in one day. And they're like, oh, let's do that, you know. So, and then to rename the file where it says the word file, you just simply tap on it, and then you can name the file that way. This is my new favorite. Like, it was life-changing. I was giddy, and then it's like I was geeking out. Anybody I could find who cared, and didn't care, it didn't matter. You know that one thing that's just like that thing, and then you figure out a better way? It was just life-changing. Any other questions?
How much space in the files do you have?
They're small. I don't think they're very big. I've got a bunch of them now. It sends it as a zip file, and so and what's cool too is like you can even look at their file right here on the I don't like it's 727 kilobytes. I mean, they're very small. Well, that would be whatever software you have for your 3D printer. Yeah, this is just the file creation. There are, let's see.
Eagles is St. Benedict.
You can, down here also, pre-select which printer you're doing it for, if it's in the list. I don't know if that makes a difference, but there you can see the custom size and that's in the settings. Any questions? All right, well, it is in the minutes, so you can see the links to it and everything else. They did say on their website that they do online and in-person workshops. I have no idea too much about that. But, and then, like I said, it's about, oh, and I forgot, they do have a desktop version, so if you don't want to use iPads, I just think the iPads are a little simpler for manipulating the files, but you can do it either way. All right. Anybody have anything else about 3D printing while we're talking about it that's working for them that they want to share? Anybody doing any projects or success stories or anything? Because I find it somewhat like, it's cool, but it's somewhat like it's a one-off type thing that we do. I don't know if anybody has a better way to incorporate it into what they're doing.
Dave, our design guy and our tech guy for the theater department, he does, we call them core courses. They're not really full courses. They see the interest and then they find the most common periods when the boys have off. Anyway, he does it over, 9 weeks of a quarter. They meet once or twice a week, whatever, and he teaches them all about it, and the printer, and they design stuff. And a lot of times he has them various things for the upcoming production in the theater. So they design stuff for sets and everything, little models or whatever. And he teaches them all about design and 3D printing and whatever. And he's been doing that now for, I guess, last year and a half, and has done it in multiple quarters during the year, like maybe quarter 2 and quarter 4 or whatever. And he keeps, I mean, the interest is growing. He's
I was
having
gonna say, so
boys come do it.
the kids
He
willing to give up
displays the
time.
projects in the foyer of the chapel and the art wing, and that I think creates some interest, whatever. But we started doing probably more with that, and he's kind of taking that project on, and that's but it's not tied to any particular course, or there's no set curriculum. And we have a TAS. They bought it from the theater department, but they decided since then that it was used, and so we moved it to the library. And so it's actually housed in the library. Anybody could break to it if they need to. If the boys want to do a project or whatever, but he's kind of taken over that aspect, and it seems to be growing in interest.
That's an interesting approach, yeah. I know that we've used it like in our intro to engineering class in the upper schools and things like that. Okay, well, we'll move on then. All right, so on to our regular meeting. Thanks to St. George's for hosting us today, and the lovely decorations and everything. So the November 3 Delta School visit, wow, we have a lot of interest, which is good. I may have to email, we're way over our number. They asked that we limit it to 30, which is 2 groups of 15 to tour, which I think is reasonable. It's not a very big campus. So I will be getting in touch with everybody either this afternoon or Monday about that. I had a few more people that were still emailing me, so I just want to make sure I've got most everybody before I do it. And then the cafe there is awesome. So for those of you that are staying for lunch, it'll be a real treat to do that. The chef there used to be an Elegant Farmer when it was on Highline. And then the pastry chef is at Interim. And now they're married. But Wilson, has anybody been to Wilson yet? Okay. It is, it's an interesting project that is going on over there, and it is, we'll learn a lot about it while we're there. But the school, just understand, they don't really have a curriculum. It's whatever they want to study, whenever they want to study it, or if the head of school, when I visited last year, and the teacher said that she came back and said, we're all going to study music. And then every class, whether it was history or whatever, had to come up with a twist on music. Little ones went to the symphony and then made instruments, and they have 2 main themes, maker and the agricultural side. So they have gardens and greenhouses and things like that. And those are their 2 big pushes. And if any of you are interested in all that making stuff, you'll drool at the facilities. I mean, it's just, the place is beautiful and it's amazing, but it's different. So it'll be an interesting trip. So I'll send out final details about that soon.
And it goes through what grade?
They've been adding kind of a grade a year or so. I think right now it's through like middle school maybe.
I think it's 8.
Is this was the head of school at, did anyone go to the thing over at the Germantown last spring at Germantown? I know Melissa Smith was there. Some other
Her name's Jennifer
Fox?
dark hair.
Fox or something?
I think
Yes.
it is. I think it is.
Okay,
Chef.
and they don't have grades either. They have like
No,
tickets or awards.
if you read their philosophy online, she has a whole statement about their curriculum and all that.
Someone posed a really good question about how, and of course they're not there yet, because I think they're only in upper middle school at this point, but how this is going to translate into college.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's I've heard that from lots of sources.
Yeah,
I would be very interested.
Yeah, I'm not saying it will work, I'm just curious how it's going to work.
I talked to one last year when I was there, one of the kindergarten teachers for the younger, and her stepdaughter was there in school and getting up, I think in 8th grade, so they may have started 9th grade, I don't remember, but she was concerned because the University of Arkansas wouldn't take whatever portfolio or whatever she was going to have to show. And I mean, she was concerned about it. And she came to Memphis to take voice and tennis and other stuff, and she's like, I think we need to.
We don't accept your sticker. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
She wrote a book.
Yeah, she's famous.
It's this whole philosophy that she's basing the school on her, that what she wrote in the book. I haven't read the book, but
Really an amazing way to learn, and I just don't think our colleges are there yet.
it is. It's just, my concern would be, are there gaps though?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what they're doing is phenomenal, what the kids' experiences they're having, but is there consistency from year to year, and are there all the gaps, but anyways, those would be good questions to share with them when we're, I mean, in a nice way. January, so that will be November, we don't meet in December. In January, we will be at MUS. The theme is going to be librarians presenting, so if you have any librarians that would like to attend the meeting, I have my lower school and one of my high school librarians coming, and then John, we're good? So the librarian at MUS will also be presenting, so they'll be sharing some different things. So I think it's really good at the meetings if we bring people that can benefit from it, not just us hear it and then try and go back and explain it. So I'm trying to let you know ahead of time so that you can plan for that. So that will be January. February will be at St. Mary's, and we'll be talking about robotics. And so if you have anybody that's interested in that, keep that on your radar. March, haven't come up, not sure what the theme is yet for March. I feel pretty good to have the next two figured out. April will be...
And we had to move it to the 5th.
Okay.
We can't do it on the 12th. We have our employee dinner that night.
Okay.
So, but we'll do it on the 5th. We're
Okay,
good.
and more will be coming from you about
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
And she has the information of who offered to do what jobs
Yeah.
and all that. And then May 4, we are having another field trip.
Woo!
Sarah, do you
Field
want
trip,
to
man.
I reached out to Ginger Stickler, who is very involved with the creation of Crosstown High. I think it was kind of her baby, and she was super excited to have us come out. She's excited to possibly get more involved with MAIS TEC. So she was very welcoming and said we could pretty much do and explore what we wanted. We just need to let her know kind of what we want to see and learn. So if anybody has anything, we were going to look at Tech 901 and Crosstown High. If there's anything else in Crosstown that y'all are interested in, I just need to let her know. We'll touch base again probably in January and figure out what's going to go on with that. But she was super excited for us to come.
So we may send out, y'all are going to get tired of my surveys by the end of the year, but I like having everything in one place to go back to. But that way we can see who's interested, kind of our numbers. Once again, I would think we couldn't take too large of a group. I don't know how that would work. But we'll send that out.
I think since they won't be open yet, it probably
Right. So,
probably
but that's exciting. I'm excited to go see that.
And they are hiring too, just for everybody. They just put out some information about job postings.
At the high school.
They're opening in the fall, I believe. So they're,
Yeah.
if you go to their website, you can find info about that.
Okay. Cool. All right. So the address for the Delta schools on there for those that are going to be attending. All right, and then our consortium. Angie made a great document, and I keep meaning to sit down and put my stuff on, and I still haven't yet. But go ahead, the link is there. Try, and sometime, it's probably going to be a process throughout the year for everybody to gather the information, but at least we can get started with it.
If nothing else, put the big names, and then you can fill in the details kind of as you go. But if you know some of the bigger tools that you use, go ahead and put them in there so we can kind of see, and then fill in the numbers and the pricing and all that as you go.
Yeah, we're doing, but even if we do Excel as well, we're doing a whole new line saying.
Well, I was thinking we could, and then we'll sort them, and then we can kind of see what everybody's structures look like tool by tool.
That works.
So if you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't pulled up the link, this is what she's put together. And so basically, you're just listing, what she's suggesting is just list first the products that you get a subscription for, and then we can see what the commonalities are between all the schools, and then pursue it. We can always get more information about who's paying what as we look more into. But if you could at least just list what you purchase licenses for, that would be a great start. So that link is on there. Any professional development opportunities that need to be added to the list? Anybody know of anything coming up?
I added that TAIS, Innovation and Technology Institute. I know Whitney and I both received something from Rich Martin recently about serving on that committee, but they're going to have, they try to have one every year, they're going to have this TAIS Innovation Institute. And it's not going to be at a school, it's going to be at this EDNI Innovation Center in Chattanooga on April the 9th.
What is
That's the thing they had at St. Agnes last year.
Yeah.
And it was at Innsworth the year before.
what kind of innovation is it like?
I have no
I
idea.
think it's yet to be determined yet. I mean,
He just announced,
Yeah.
like, this week that they've changed it
It
to
used
us.
to be just the TAIS Tech Day is what it was. It was
Yes.
just a one-day quick conference.
St.
But
George's.
they adapted it to where it's not just tech, it's just innovative teaching and learning and stuff like that.
He said GPS and Baylor would be the host for it, but at this time they were not planning on having sessions at either of the schools. That this place is pretty snazzy and they don't show it off, and maybe they offer it or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, I agree, sir. I think, did you say yes or no? Yeah, I said yes.
We had a discussion before we said
So
yes.
Whitney and I both talked before we both said yes. So anyway, we're both going to be on that steering committee and we'll be reading the proposal. So if you've got an idea and you want to go attend that, you'll be getting a call from presenters sometime probably after the first of the year.
Okay, great.
So anyway, that's something new. And he said, to his knowledge, he said the Tech Day thing had never been in his conceit. So it's always usually been in Western Middle. So this will be the first time it's been raised. So.
And it's a Monday. They kind of switch back and forth what they do and when they do it and all that.
So these are the committees that we have from the last meeting. Any updates on the social committee, or is that going to be later?
Are we supposed to?
I'm gonna assume later.
I mean, not me, but yes. But
So I put together, if anybody has any STEAM-type resources, websites, or books to add to the list, this is this month's resource corner if you're looking for any different things. And then, do we still want to just wait to do a present at the very end? Or do you want to do them now?
It doesn't matter.
Or while they're setting up?
Yeah,
Do you want to introduce, or do you want to let them set up?
We've got Brian's back with us.
Yay!
We might want to just go around, see people who are introductions to.
Okay, and if y'all want to go ahead and start setting up, does anybody have anything to add to the main part of the meeting? What we're going to do while they're setting up this, do you want to wait and explain?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's just go around the room while they're setting up and introduce them what school and your position.
Okay, I'm Amy Smythe from Woodland Presbyterian School. I'm the Technology and Communications Director. And I brought Shelley Henry with me. She's our middle school science teacher. I guess you could talk for yourself.
No big deal.
I teach science.
At Woodland.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Randy Moore, and I'm at St. Francis School, and I am tech coach and Jared's right hand. And Jared is new to our school this year.
Hey everybody, I'm Jared Wyrick. I am the IT director at St. Francis. As Randy said, she is our integrationist and tech coach. So we work very closely together. We have one other member, Tina Cisnowski. She's not here today, but she also helps us with our tech needs at the school.
Whitney Miller, Technology Director at Hutchinson.
Lynn Williams, the Director of Instructional Technology at Briarcrest.
Nina Collins, computer teacher, my title is tech coordinator, but that normally ends up going to the IT guys.
I'm Sarah Casey, and I'm at St. Agnes. I do library and technology.
Angie Gould, St. Dominic, Director of Digital Academic Services.
Wanda Terrell, I'm from Lakeland School System.
John Simi. I'm the new Director of Technology at MUS. We recently lost a Director of Technology, and I was the Director of Instructional Technology. So we took it as an opportunity to restructure, and we have one Director of Technology now. And I'm in the process of hiring a new network sysadmin person. More details on that later. So anyway, I have a new title at MUS.
Congrats.
I'm Brian Beretta. I am now with the Bodine School. I'm the Director of Technology, as well as teaching 1st through 6th grade tech classes.
I'm the Director of Data Management at St. George's.
I'm Amanda Asbell. I'm the Director of Academic Technology for the lower school here at St. George's.
Pam Lewis, I'm the Technology Integration for 2nd through 5th.
Don't forget Scott back there. No, he is the Director of Technology here at St. George's.
Whatever she says.
On-campus technology integration for Christ Methodist Day School, and I also teach kindergarten through 6th grade.
I'm Elizabeth Basie. I'm lower school science and technology teacher at Gracie Lakes.
I sent the little door prize things around. Did everybody get one for name and school on it?
I think we're still doing them over here.
It's on. Everybody have their door prize thingy? All right, so we've got this month, we've got we got 3 actually. So I'll kind of talk about them in order and you can come and pick. So there's a little car, phone, grip vent kind of thing, mount kind of thing. I think that was very popular one of the times, one of the things that Lynn did. I have another one of these power packs, which is great. You know, you can never have too many of those.
You really can't.
I know. I just went to Phoenix on fall break, and I had 2, and on one of my days, I used both of them. So that you can never have too many of those. And then a really cool, this is a really good one. So this is a Bluetooth wireless speaker, but it's a higher quality than the one I even had the last time. I caught a really good sale, and it's a really good Bluetooth speaker. So you'll get to pick when your name is drawn. I have all of the tickets, all the little names, correct? Everybody? All right. I'm not going to draw them. I'm going to have somebody else draw them. I'm not going to be accused of trying to shake them up.
Wait, Scott is in the tickets.
Scott did. Yes, Scott.
Yes.
Come on, Scott. Yes. Everybody.
Gosh, Scott.
Everybody. What's the ticket? Where'd they go?
Thank you. If it's blank, it says, how about that?
There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
It said no name.
If it's blank, it's Scott.
All right, let's go. Come on. Draw one.
Ooh, Randy, you better pick me.
Okay, let's see who it is. Brian Beretta. Welcome for your first meeting back, whatever. So, Brian, you can come up and take a look and pick one of those so that whoever's jotting that kind of stuff down, I think we'll do in a minute. Okay, let's have one of our So you live in here? She picked me. What's your last name?
Collusion.
Oh, well.
Brian, your first pick.
He's gonna
You must not know.
He's gonna pick it. You know, he took a
I'll take the little card mount thing, actually.
Oh, really?
All right, one more. Come on, Sam.
Y'all, those directional food too, because we plan to keep behind and more than.
Jared Wyrick.
First time.
See, there you go. And you were the one that said you
Yeah,
really
I'll
can't.
take that.
So there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not.
All right, thank you guys. Are we taking a couple of minute break, or are y'all ready, or what's the deal? Yeah, you ready for us? You want to introduce us? I am. Yeah. All right, so when Jessica put the survey out at the beginning of the year and asked about
you might be interested in some different kinds of presentations and allowing some vendors to come in at the end of our meeting. That way, if you wanted to, make an exit, that was fine. And we just thought, it's some people get to go to conferences and some people don't, and some people get exposed to new, shiny and bright new things that are good, shiny and bright, unlike the shiny and bright that we need to stay away from. But new things, new technologies, and new ideas, and just a chance to meet some really nice quality vendors who some of us may already do business with that you might want to think about and consider for the future. So I've known these people for quite some time. The owner of the company was a friend of mine, actually from another company, and he formed his own entity several years ago. And they do business all across the state and really all across the area. And so I want to take this opportunity to introduce Todd Troxler. Todd, I'm going to get your title. That's not what you call him. I never know what to call him. I just know him as Todd. He's Vice President of Business Development for Central Technologies. So that is our vendor presenter today. And they have a product that I was super, super duper impressed with. I've seen it actually at the Boxlight booth at ISTE multiple times. I talked to the developer one time, this was a couple of ISTEs ago, when these things were just first coming out. So I think you'll be impressed with it. We all have probes and we use different flavors and varieties of probes. So this might just be something that you want to try out or see something different. They're a lot easier to deal with and a lot handier, I think. So I'll turn it over to Todd and let Todd introduce Jason. And they'll talk about these lab discs. So Todd Troxler.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And we're just going to show you a little bit about a company named Boxlight that offers a product called Lab Disc, and it's a portable STEM lab, obviously targeted for your science teachers and in those areas. So, like John said, we cover the state of Tennessee primarily for K-12. We do a little higher ed, obviously private schools as well. But we are an education-minded company. That's basically all we do. We have locations. Our corporate is in Knoxville, and we have an office here in Germantown, actually, a sales office. We have a warehouse in Jackson, so we're kind of all across the state. And we don't sell in Mississippi and Arkansas and everywhere else. We're Tennessee people, period. So we're excited to be here today. Thanks, John, for having us. And we're going to keep this pretty simple. I know Jason's going to try to make it interactive, although he had his wisdom teeth out 2 days ago. So.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
But Jason actually lives here in Memphis, and he's our account executive really here in West Tennessee and obviously in Shelby County. So he'll be the one that would be reaching out to you generally, and I'm going to leave it with you, Jason Keelan.
All right, guys, thanks for having us. So if we can make this as interactive as possible, I think that's going to be the best way to play this. It's about getting students involved and having them interact, and that's kind of how we see lab discs, is getting them hands-on and thinking outside the box. So I'm just going to go over 3 little things. Science. We found some of the challenges in science for these students is it's abstract, science is, and it's got its own little special language. How many science teachers do we have in here? Okay, so quite a few.
I've asked you before.
Okay, and 7 to 8. Who else was? Okay. Not you, Cindy. Former science teacher. Okay. Well, we found that a lot of kids are dropping out of science and not taking much of an interest. What we want to do is be able to engage them through technology and have kind of a hands-on, inquiry-based. We start them out young. We can get them thinking, like I said, outside the box. And we found that really helps out a lot. So, typical lab session. We found out when students are doing labs, you got about 90 items that they're working with. We found a way with these little lab discs that we're passing around to you guys that you can kind of have a science. This is a science lab in the palm of your hand. It's got this, if you look at it, it's going around, it's got these 15 little gauges in here, and you can do all these different little experiments with it. It's really neat, and as you see, we get into some of the experiments, and we get a hands-on. You guys are really, really going to love it. It's got 4 different branches, right, Todd? It's got Gen Sci, environmental, chemistry, I believe, and
biochem.
And as you see, progressively as you get older, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, it gets a little more complex. But it's got all these different utensils we're going to show you today. Really, really neat. I think this is another one. You got all these different senses in here: pH balance, voltage, humidity. But it's also got analytics. It's also you can Bluetooth it, so it's Bluetooth in. It's got all these different experiments that are preloaded onto it. You can show the students, and they can run their own little experiment in teams. Pretty neat. So, and it also comes with a cart. I don't have a cart for you guys here today. The cart is really, really cool. It comes with iPad holders inside of it. I think it holds 16, correct, Tom? It plugs in, it's a charging station. It's very small, it's out of the way. It holds everything that you need. The students replace them at the end of the day. They charge it overnight, and they can re-engage in it. So,
and you can buy them in a set. You can buy 16 in a cart. The tablets do not come in it. You can utilize your own tablets.
Yes, you can mix and match them if you want to get 4 biochem, 4 enviro. You can mix and match those like that. So, enough of me talking. I'm going to show you guys some videos of them actually using it, the way you can kind of get an idea. So, volume. Yeah.
There's a white table or white table.
Wait for me, or you? All right. Where's it go?
In your headphone jack? Do you have a headphone jack?
Yeah, it should be. Where you at, man?
That's the developer, this guy.
Here it is. Wake up, man.
Everybody's awake.
It's like a complete laboratory in the palm of your hand. I'm sure you want... Hi, my name is Doug Brooker from GlobalSense. I'm here to show you the most innovative data logging solution for K-12 science, the LabDisk. As we all know, most sensors and data loggers have become too complicated and time-consuming for teachers to use. So we at GlobalSense have decided that it's time for something new. The LabDisk is all about making hands-on science learning simple, compact, and immediate. It's the first wireless data logger with up to 14 built-in sensors. It's like a complete laboratory in the palm of your hand. I'm sure you're wondering, where are all these 14 sensors? Well, they're all here behind this protecting ring. We even have one motion sensor at the back. And all we need are these 7 sensor keys and 3 function keys to control our lab. It's autonomic, it's wireless. You can use it in the field, or you can use our GlobalLab software to set it up and analyze the data. Simple, compact, immediate. We carry those ideas into our software. GlobalLab is intuitive and icon-driven. No menus, no sub-menus, no long text. All you need in only 4 categories: file management, graphic manipulation, LabDisk control, and display. We will really get a feel for GlobalLab advanced functionality when we perform and analyze hands-on experiments. What makes the LabDisk such a unique learning tool is its simplicity and immediacy. No preparation time, no fiddling with wires, no calibration. Just press of a button and you are ready to go. Hands-on science made easy. Yet, despite this, advanced features include high accuracy, high resolution, fast sampling rate, long-lasting rechargeable battery, and a clear LCD display. Hands-on science was never so easy.
All right. I'm actually going to do a little project, show you guys an experiment that he does here.
Today, we're going to use the lab disk, the thermocouple temperature sensor, and the candle to explore combustion, a chemical process in which substance reacts with oxygen to produce heat. So what do you think? What is the temperature of a candle flame? Is it the same in all parts of the candle? The candle flame is divided to 3 different zones. In the blue section, due to richness of oxygen, there is a...
So this is when we start getting kids thinking, right? We ask them, what's the hottest part of the flame? The blue, the yellow, the orange. Amy, what do you think it is?
Let's say blue.
You say the blue, okay? John? The orange. The orange, okay. I was always taught the blue as well. So.
Complete combustion. Next up is the orange section, where combustion is incomplete. Instead, we have high concentration of carbon. The yellow section is where the carbon particle ignite to emit the full spectrum of light, producing most of the light coming from our candle. So, which area do you think will be hotter? Let's set up the lab disk and find out for ourselves. We will take the thermocouple temperature sensor because it can measure up to 1200 degrees Celsius. We will connect it to the lab disk and set up the lab disk. First, let's select the thermocouple sensor, uncheck all other sensors, take 10 samples per second and 1000 samples. Now we are ready to go. Let's begin. We will insert the thermocouple temperature sensor into the blue zone. After the temperature reading stabilized, we will move to the orange zone.
And this can be plugged up or it can be Bluetooth in, guys.
And then to the yellow section. Here is the candle flame temperature recording. You can clearly see the 3 different zones. It's also obvious that each zone has its own temperature. Let's see what is the temperature. We'll start with the blue zone. Here the temperature was 467 degrees centigrade. Do you think that's hot? Let's move to the orange zone. In the orange zone, we reach almost 820 degrees centigrade. But the hottest place of the candle flame is the yellow zone, with nearly 1000 degrees centigrade. Well, this is hot. We can also annotate the graph, adding the pictures of the candle flame. We'll start with the blue zone. And we will continue with the orange and yellow zones. Here we can clearly see that the temperature rises as we go up the flame, with the highest temperature production at the tip of the flame. For centuries, candles were the only source of light during nighttime. I wonder if they knew that it's all because of temperature and carbon production.
You guys see how that can be used in the classroom and engage the students? You know, get some thinking.
Do all those probes attachments come with the?
The attachments do come with it, correct, Tom?
Some of the probes do, and there are some extra ones you can purchase. So, and the probes are, I mean, they're $10, $50, I mean, they're not expensive at all. But I think 12 sensors or something come with it, and then there are extra ones.
So this is the little site that you go to for the Global Lab. What we're going to do now is Todd and I are going to have you guys do an experiment for the pH balance in soda and water, and do a test here. Todd, if you want to grab this stuff. Pull it up here. Anybody want to volunteer? All right, Amy, you don't want to pick you. So.
Sorry.
Aren't y'all jumping down and doing all this?
So is the software that it comes with Windows based or is it Mac compatible as well?
It is Mac compatible, yes. We normally, the walk-in, there's another experiment that he does, and he has an iPad that he carries with him, and he walks through from a city block into a park, and it shows the humidity and the temperature change and all of that, and then he charts it on his iPad right there sitting in the park.
So our kids
So
are,
Bluetooth.
each of our students have their own computer. Does that mean that this has to be installed? Or is it web? It's not web-based, it's software? Like the graph and all of this.
No, yeah, that's web-based, correct, Tom?
Yeah, and then there's app, it can be done on an app.
Okay, but each of my students has their own laptop, so it's
Yes.
web-based.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we?
It's a good question,
Yeah, any apps and any software that you get, none of that is for purchase.
Yes.
It said that here, it says iOS, Android, Chromebooks, and at the top there it has PC, Mac, iPad, Android, Linux, so I think you'd be good for whatever.
Where are we? They have both of them. I only have this one. Cars for iPads.
I think we're just saying pre-board. No, I don't have any kids on it.
Because these are all Android tablets.
Did what? Yeah.
You're getting the graph. You're getting the graph.
We're getting a what?
Graph.
Okay. How does it straighten it?
This.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Watch the cable.
Okay.
That's good, we can see that.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
She packed it up. That wasn't me, I swear. And did everybody get the brochure with the card on it? That has a nice picture of the card since you can't see it in the water. And the other brochure has the 4 different types of.
Can we get that?
No, we didn't get the second one.
We only got one. Yeah.
So what you do here is
We've got the cart when we don't have the 4 different.
Here, I'll scan it.
so that's
Okay.
select.
We can email it to you as well.
Look at that iPad Pro right there.
Here, we're on the same page, that's why you
It's running. Okay. Now the water is running.
We've got this one. We need that one.
And then before this, we're going to ask the students, what do you guys think the pH balance is for water? And you said 7? Okay, so yeah.
It's not, that's a problem.
Well, I bet that's water.
Looks like it's.
So it's getting up there. It's going to plateau out about 6. So that Ozark water is about 6. So you can pull that out. And then we'll go to Mountain Dew.
So that was water, of course.
We'll let it plateau back out. If she went to Mountain Dew first, yeah, you'd have like a.
Clean your house. Yes.
Yeah. So let it kind of even out there.
You don't need to go red,
We normally have There you go. Just a nose dive right there, so. You're
Yeah.
fine. Yep.
So that's the Mountain Dew.
That's the Mountain Dew. You're looking at 3.5% acidity. Yep.
I would have thought more.
Would you have thought more for that? And what do you think coffee is?
I know coffee is. I think that
Coffee's
coffee's
pretty close to.
I think coffee's high, is it not?
No, coffee's acidic. You're gonna be around probably at 2.
We have some coffee over there.
Yeah, we got some right here.
Iced coffee.
Iced coffee. Oh, great. Oh, no.
Yeah, you're gonna have to restart your computer.
Oh, wow, what did happen?
Yeah.
Speaking of coffee.
This is not what the product Center Technology says. Just give that up, you know, about what else you all do and can do.
We would advertise ourselves as an all technology. Anything that you plug in your district, we do sell to education. You know, primarily going to be networking equipment, obviously, you know, like the switches, the wireless in the schools, any of the cabling that would be associated with any of those products, the Cat 6 cabling, any fiber between the closets within your schools, you know, like 10 gig fiber going between closets. Surveillance, actually the security cameras and access control for the doors of your schools. That's cameras inside the schools, outside the schools, and the software that run it. It's a product called a Vigilon that's made here in the USA, which is very rare. Obviously, projectors, like what we're talking about here. Projectors installing in the ceilings or on the walls, interactive projectors, whiteboards, panels, which Boxlight, the company that has this lab disc, they have interactive panels, flat panels and big TVs on the wall with the 20-point touch, and they're 4K now. So those are a big product. Somebody in here has some of those. And any devices, obviously your laptops and your tablets and all of those things. Pretty much everything, but Apple. Apple sells direct. We don't sell Apple. We stand behind everything we sell, so we're huge partners with the vendors that we do represent and the manufacturers. So Apple, not one of those. And then anything. I mean, it could be monitors that you're sitting at your desktop in your office. Could be digital signage. I mean, Wanda, you know something about digital signage. So, doing TVs in your common areas in your schools and putting a Chromebox or whatever it is on the back of it and running digital signage through it. And doing intercom systems, whether it's retrofitting them or doing a brand new, a little bit of everything, right? I mean, doing sound in cafeterias or doing a big projector and a automatic screen in your cafeteria or library. Well, it is. I could just have you stand up and say, just tell us what you bought.
Yeah, John, thank you, John, for recommending Todd to Woodland, because they came to my room and fixed it.
That's awesome.
And before I left Bartlett, they would replace the whole network, all the switches, the access points at Bartlett High.
That's literally what I did last week.
Bartlett Central Office. They put in all the security cameras all throughout the Bartlett system. So their reputation.
We have, and we pride ourselves on having an engineer here in West Tennessee. So a guy named Brad Barber, he's incredible, and he's here. He used to be a tech coordinator like you guys are, and he's been with us for a couple of years now. And so that's a big deal if you got a networking issue or servers and the Active Directory, Microsoft. I mean, we sell EES agreements and things like that too, but he's a great resource for that. But then, and these guys know Bo Franklin. He kind of runs our operations in West Tennessee, and he's out of Jackson, and he's here in Shelby County about every day of his life. And These guys are incredible. I mean, installing projectors, doing cabling, making it look really, really neat. And I know these ladies can attest to it. I know Wanda can, and John, I know you can too. But they make it look incredibly professional in your classroom, and so you don't lose that integrity, and you don't have cables hanging out. And so they're great. We have like 15 techs here in West Tennessee alone that are doing cabling and audio-visual installs, and camera installs, and those kind of things. So,
I wish you all could have brought that Padcaster.
We have one.
Yeah, you might want to talk about that. Just where
we sell those here in Tennessee now.
You like the Padcaster?
Yeah, I mean we've only used it a few times. So this year we actually have a social media coordinator, and we're live streaming a bunch of our events. So we use the Padcaster with the iPad to do all of our Facebook Lives, and it has its own green screen. It's got its own teleprompter. It comes with the lapel mic, the boom mic. It's a pretty cool setup if you have iPads.
Yeah.
It's a mobile studio basically.
That's great. You're getting that much use out of it too. That's awesome.
I know Apple uses those internally in some of their own corporate meetings. It's basically a case for an iPad that has a light, speaker, microphone, and you can put your phone in there to be like the teleprompter to read the script on the backside. It's like what, $1,200,
$1,200, and it includes the 3 microphones you're talking about.
It's a self-contained broadcast center. I'm telling you, I've been around this a long time. It takes a lot to get me excited. I saw that product in September. That's one of the most creative, innovative things.
It comes on a tripod, and it's got little casting wheels.
Yeah.
Wait, what is like sporting event?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, so are they like external or just one like a lapel that?
So there's 3. There's the boom mic where it does attach to the Padcaster, and you plug it into the headphone jack, and it acts as an external mic. You have the lapel mic. It is wired to the headphone jack, but it goes about 20 feet or so out. Those are the 2 mics that we have, and then
it's got
a handheld microphone as well. And we have that as well.
Kids doing projects or interviewing people or marketing, those kind of things. It's very, very good. $1,200 on an iPad and you can broadcast.
And you can also, when you have a phone in there as well?
There's a place for the phone.
Like to attach.
You use your phone in conjunction with
And it works with any size. It works with any size iPads except of course, the 12.9 Pro. But any other ones that are 9.7 to 10.5, it should work pretty well.
And Todd, I don't think did price get discussed on these things. Give us a one-off price. And obviously, you bought 1,000. You're going to get a whole bunch.
But no, they're $480, $500 for the Pro, and then if you wanted a cart with 16 of them, those are about $10,000 for 16 Pros and the cart.
And keep in mind, you can mix and match too. So if you can get some for your whole school, 10,000 will do it. You get 4 environmental, 4 chem, and you can make it go to K-12. So.
Right. And John, what I can do, so we don't have to capture everybody's email address, I'll send you the Padcaster.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then I'll send you these brochures, and then you can forward it to who you like.
And if you've got a link to their stuff too, I'll send both of those out after the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Anything else for Todd and Jason of Central Technologies?
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.
Jessica, thank you. Yeah.